The world around you has a vision of sin. They have a sense of what is righteous. And they've made a judgment about what's right and wrong, what's true and false, what's real and not real. And Jesus has come to show that the world's way of evaluating all those things is entirely upside down. And it's the crucifixion that shows this most starkly. Right? Realize what happened in Jesus' death. Jesus was, first of all, condemned as a sinner. He was pronounced unrighteous by the religious leaders of his day. They said, what you are doing is not of God, it's of the evil one. You're an evil person. And then he was judged by the Roman authorities and sent to the cross. And when you read that story, you know the whole thing is unjust. You read it and you realize they're seeing it completely upside down. They're condemning an innocent man. It's evident. In the cross of Jesus Christ, in the crucifixion, the world is convicted. The world's way of seeing and reckoning with what's going on in Jesus is shown to be false. And that's the same work the Holy Spirit is carrying forward. I want to read you an extended quote from Leslie Newbegin, who helps us understand the dynamic in the text here. Newbegin writes this: according to John 3, verse 20, the light exposes the deeds of evil men. In the same way, the Holy Spirit exposes the falsity of the world's most fundamental ideas. Sin, righteousness, judgment. These three related words stand for something which belongs to the universal stock of human ideas. All people everywhere have ideas of right and wrong, and all people draw the line somewhere to mark off and to judge what has to be condemned. The world understands sin as a revolt against its own standards and ideals. But the revelation of the presence of God in a man condemned as a sinner is the overthrowing of the world's idea of what sin is. According to the world's standard of righteousness, Jesus was found to be in the wrong by the highest judicial authorities of the church and state. But in the higher tribunal of the Father, he was found to be in the right. The world has its own idea about judgment. But the one who had come as the bearer of God's kingly rule was condemned. And in that act of judgment, the ruler of the world was judged. God's people will be the bearers of that kingship, which overturns all the world's ideas of judgment. This is what it means, you see, that Christians are against the world. We don't have anything against the people of the world. They are human beings made in the image of God. They are our neighbors and friends and family members. But we do have a quarrel with the world's way of seeing and reckoning with the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. And the Holy Spirit is at work in the world, exposing the falsity of the world's way of thinking. And part of how the Holy Spirit does that work, here's what the text is pointing out to you. Part of how the Holy Spirit does that work is through the existence of Christians.